Hey everyone, welcome back. Happy New Year. It's good to see you all. If you're new, then you're in the right place. I'm glad you're here. I hope you all had a good 2025. For those of you who don't know me, my name is John Clayton. I'm a recovering drug addict and alcoholic, and I've been clean and sober since February 21st, 2021. And we're still in the Living Clean book, and we're on wellness and health. Life is an adventure, and we are able to go further and experience more than we had ever dreamed. We are able to live beyond the barriers we set for ourselves. When we surrender to the real limits before us, another door opens every time one closes. With self-acceptance comes a willingness to creatively explore new directions. Many of us have regrets about time or abilities lost, but when we really start to explore with an open mind, we find that we have options we may never have considered. We have had a difficult relationship with the word should. We have spent much of our lives rebelling against the things others expected of us. But when we get clean, we find we have long lists and things we think we should be doing. We can be so full of should that no matter what we are doing, it feels wrong. Our expectations of ourselves can be so overwhelming that they cripple us. Part of developing new habits we can sustain is finding better reasons to do them than that we should. Behavior that brings its own rewards is much likelier to become part of our lives than the things we take on because we imagine it's what we should do. We may have no we may have to persist a while before we find that reward. However, whether it's the peace we find in the course of exercising or the gratification of seeing ourselves develop or improve a skill, we are pleased to find what we can keep a commitment to ourselves. For some of us, exercising is something we do or think we should do. We take care of our health, but for others, it's deeper than that. When I'm running, said one member, I get a sense of prayer. My mind becomes clear. Finding a spiritual connection in exercise is easier for some of us than meditating while sitting still. Exercise can be easier to keep up when it is part of our spiritual practice than when it's simply a matter of doing what we think we are supposed to do. Excuse me. Some of us see self-care as an ongoing part of the amends process. We start by not engaging in self-abuse and gradually learn to treat our body, mind, and spirit with honor and respect. When we care for our own well-being, about who we are and who we can become, we shift from I should or I have to get to, and find that caring for ourselves isn't a chore, it's a privilege. When we treat ourselves with compassion, we learn to value ourselves. Exercising regularly can be a way we act on our new self-respect. But to build a different relationship with our bodies, we can let go of some of the emotional turmoil about what we look like or think we look like, and begin to entreat others with respect. We start to view ourselves with a sense of unity. We let go of the idea that my body is separate from my spirit or myself. We feel refreshed and renewed physically and realize that we are able to push ourselves beyond what we imagined our limits to be. Setting physical goals for ourselves and achieving them can have immense rewards. As we find freedom from our disease through practicing the principles of the program, we learn that discipline is actually a part of that freedom. We have the ability to pursue our dreams, and we get there one goal at a time. We may resist meeting goals or getting too healthy. We hold ourselves back from all we can be, either because we feel we don't deserve it or because we are afraid of the change it will bring. Sometimes praying for a willingness can begin the process of change. An act as simple as preparing a proper meal for ourselves can be the first link in a new chain. As we incorporate healthy patterns in our lives, we begin to feel refreshed, renewed, and willing to set new goals for ourselves. It can take a long time to let go of the belief that somehow the ordinary rules of life don't apply to us. From the speed limit to the law of physics, having courted death for so long, some of us seem to think we are immune to it. Even though we know better, the powerful sense of entitlement that enabled us to do what was required to maintain a habit doesn't go away immediately. And many of us struggle with the feeling that being clean is such a triumph that the world ought to celebrate and give us what we want. For some of us, that false sense of entitlement runs so deep that taking care of ourselves does not occur to us as our responsibility. That had been the task of our partners, medical professionals, or the warden. Our readings suggest that through our inability to accept personal responsibilities, we are actually creating our own problems. It benefits us to sit with our sponsors and consider what our personal responsibilities really is, what we are responsible for, and what are we not. When we look at it, we may find that we feel more responsible for others than we do for ourselves. Learning to care for ourselves is part of taking personal responsibility, and it can be surprisingly difficult. One of our old timers used to share that there is nothing sadder than an addict with a high tolerance for pain. And the truth is, many of us struggle with that. Some of us have endured great physical hardships or abuse. Many of us have borne terrible emotional sufferings. It makes sense that we take pride in being tough. Strength seems like its own reward, and it's certainly a survival skill we're not too keen on letting go. For a lot of us, that strength is part of our identity, both in terms of how we see ourselves and how we want to show ourselves to the world. What could we be wrong? What could be wrong after all with being able to tolerate so much? The answer is in the question. When we see a using addict with a high tolerance for pain going on to the better end, we can see how needless that suffering is. But in our own lives, we may not notice when we ate doing the same thing. As we work the steps, we come to see what we tolerate more than we need to, and probably more than is healthy for us. One member shared, I no longer live at the animal level in obvious ways, but when I ignore persistent pain in my body and just wish it go away, that's still a form of needless suffering. Learning that the rules really do apply to us means that when something is wrong, we stop and take a look at it. Being a good steward of our bodies means accepting that they need care and maintenance. As we recover, many of us find that we have a new importance in the lives of our families. We develop deep friendships. We become useful in our work and our communities. Where once we may have been a burden to others, we now find that we are important to many people. We matter not to taking care of ourselves, living self destructively in recovery. We find the old lie, I'm only hurting myself, still falls flat for the people who care about us. Failing to care for ourselves is frustrating at best. Too often it leads us to the result that once again they are taking care of us. Taking care of ourselves is an act of amends not only to ourselves but to the people who love us and to our higher power. It's a way of showing gratitude for being alive. Yeah, that's also a good reading. Um, yeah, that's one thing about my recovery is, today I have so much gratitude, especially for being given the chance or the opportunity to actually change my life around. The opportunity to actually find a way to make my mark in the world or even make a difference in some way or another. Anyway, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate every one of you, and if nobody's told you today that they love you, well, I love you, and I hope to see you all again real soon. Bye for now.